if you are doing that technology and in such a way, how does that influence or is getting reflected in your country? Are you using all this technology you are telling us? And if you are, why does the country has a problem of poverty?
Well, let's first start with the first question.
Yes.
So yes, actually, this technology is used in Israel. The technology that was developed at the Hebrew University was translated into companies like Coal Plant, for example, which is a public company. And we develop products. The first one, as I said, was already approved in Europe, and the rest are in clinical trials. With respect to your comment about poverty in Israel, I think it's how you define poverty. And I think that me as an Israeli, I don't think that that what Israelis are talking about poverty is what maybe other people think of poverty. In Israel, I'm not an economist, okay, so I don't know exactly what is the GDP of the country, but Israel is actually doing very well economically. I can tell you that today, if you go to NASDAQ, of course, the biggest number of companies are American, but the second is not Germany, it's not England, not even France, it's Israelis. In Israel, every month, if you follow the journals, there is at least one company that is sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, and every year at least one or two are sold for more than $1 billion. And consider the following: the size of Israel in terms of the population is the size of Guadalajara. So I hope that other countries in the world will perform like the Israeli economy. Seriously. That is not to say that we should not be more socialists, because one of the problems in Israel is that the sector that is making all that money is not across the population, and so there should be probably from the government point of view better balance of the wealth.
Education. Do you think your country is doing something in education that results in what you said?
Well, I think that Israel is doing quite well in education. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I believe that while my presentation will be projected, I'd like to make a few comments. First of all, I have to say that I'm a bit surprised that today we're still debating in Mexico on transgenic crops. This is a 20-year-old technology. And in addition to that, the market, or the biggest market for Mexico today is the United States, where transgenic GMO plants are consumed on a daily basis for the last close to 20 years. What I would like to propose to you today is to take a look at agriculture in a slightly different way. Agriculture does not necessarily have to supply only food. So if I may have the first slide, the gentleman there in the back, please. So 200 years of industrial revolution and modern chemistry, we haven't really performed well. Our planes are still crashing, as you can see. We are still polluting with our cars. And the houses that we build are actually do not. Oops. Can you pass that, please?
También la siguiente, por favor.
Okay. And our houses also collapsing in earthquakes. Well, we shouldn't be so critical about our scientists for a simple reason. They didn't have enough time. Only 200 years. While nature had 3 billion years of evolution to make some remarkable materials, which we hope we could have, because some of them are really performing. Take, for example, sequoia trees. They carry hundreds of tons for hundreds of years in the sun, in the rain, in UV light. There is no plastic that can actually take such harsh conditions. Yet, if you look at the structure of these trees by high-resolution electron microscope, you find that the reason for the strength is this nanofiber that surprisingly is made of sugar, simple sugar. Well, it's not that simple. It's a cellulose, actually a nanocrystalline cellulose. And interestingly enough, this nanofiber is 10 times stronger than steel. Yet, it's only sugar. So analysts, if you read some of the papers, I believe that nanocellulose is going to be one of the most important materials for the industry in whole from 2020. But here is the problem. If you would like today, let's say, to buy half a ton of nanocellulose to make a boat, or to make an airplane, or a house, you can Google, you can eBay, you can even Alibaba. You cannot find it. Of course, you can find thousands of papers, but no commercial source. So we actually at the Hebrew University, please come forward, decided to develop a technology to make cost-effective nanocellulose. So we were looking for a source for raw material, and we found that the sludge of the paper industry is a wonderful source for nanocellulose. And in fact, there is a lot of that. Please forward. In fact, there is so much of that it covers our continents. Europe alone manufacture 12 million tons of that waste annually. So for everybody, it's an environmental problem. For us, it's a gold mine because we can make from that nanocellulose. So we developed a technology to make nanocellulose from the sludge, which is useful for many applications. For example, to reinforce polyethylene, to make glass barriers for the food packaging. There are lots of applications. Another example is cat fleas. We've been working with cat fleas in the laboratory for the last 10 years. Cat fleas are wonderful creatures. They can jump as high as 200 times their height. This is the equivalent of a person standing in the middle of Manhattan and in a single jump go to the top of the Empire State Building. So it would be amazing if we could have this material. Now, how cat fleas do it, they make this wonderful material which is called resin. It's a protein that in simple words is the best rubber on earth. You can stretch it, you can press it, it doesn't lose any energy to the environment. And once you release it, boom, it brings back all the energy. So it would be great if we had this material, but here's the problem. It's very difficult to catch catfish, because they're jumping. And even if you caught few, you don't have much. So it's enough to now catch only one. You can extract the DNA from the catfish, read how the DNA sequence that encodes for the resin, and clone it by genetic engineering into a less jumpy organism, like plant. And that's exactly what we did. So now look at the small video. You can see on the right-hand side, there is a nanocellulose foam. You can see there is a plastic behavior. On the left-hand side, it's the same foam, but with a little bit of resin. Look what happened. Jumps back. Then you can do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So this is wonderful material, so what can we do with that? In fact, we are now working with a Swiss company that makes specialty shoes
for people that would like to have better performance in sports. Synthetic materials are also used today as medical implants. We glue them and screw them into our body. And I think it's not a good idea. Why? First of all, because they're fake. But there is actually more fundamental reason for that. In fact, in nature, there is no one that screw my head into my neck or glue my skin onto my body to scaffolds on which cells are growing to make tissues, organs, and brings life. So we at Hebrew University decided to focus, please get the other one, decided to focus on collagen. Collagen is the most important building block for our body. It accounts for about 25% of our draw weight. Bone is 50% collagen. Tendons, ligaments, close to 100% collagen. So I like always to say that anyone in the business of replacement parts for a human being would like to have collagen. But here's the problem. Collagen has been there for more than 10 years. In fact, when we started, there were already more than 1,000 medical implants made of collagen. Dermal fillers to reduce wrinkles, more serious products like artificial meniscus, bone grafts, even heart valve leaflets. But the problem is that the source were dead cows, dead pigs, and human cadaver. And there is a big safety issue. So what we have done, we cloned all the 5 human genes that are responsible for making collagen in human into tobacco plants. And today in Israel, we have 25 greenhouses all over the country where a company that was established, or whole plant, actually give the farmers small plantlets, looks like exactly like tobacco, except that they have 5 human genes. They grow them for about 50 to 60 days, harvest the leaves are transported by cooling trucks to the factory, and there we start the process for extraction of the human collagen. If you ever seen how to make pesto, it's exactly the same thing, except that it was a big food processor from which we purify in clean rooms the collagen and from which we make medical implants. We have today already the first product on the market in Europe, and we have 2 products in clinical trials in an advanced stage. So, if I may have the next slide. Thank you. Remember the resin. So what happens if you take collagen fiber and you add a little bit of resin? That's what you're getting. You're getting a fiber that is much more elastic and much stronger. So in the future, when we will make artificial tendons from collagen-producing plants and resin-producing plants, the patient that will get the implant will have better performance than even before the injury. So, if I summarize, I would say the following. In the future, agriculture will serve us not only for making food, but, for example, to feed the 3D printers, as you can see on the screen, that will make artificial organs, like hearts, for example. But that's not all. In fact, can I have the last slide, please? In fact, we will be able to clone these genes into plants to make our meat. Today, what we're doing is we grow the plants, we take the plant, we feed the cows, and then we slaughter the cow and get the steak, right? And I say, cut the middleman, or cut the cow. Let it graze. We will be able to make our food in a much more sustainable and more safe and more humane. And there is no reason to slaughter anymore. Thank you.